What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel as you tune in and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on some comments that Jason Whitlock and Doug Gottlied made about Jay Billis, right? And this conversation was a interesting conversation because I never knew that Jay Billis did not really like Jason Whitlock, right? And that's because I never really heard him say anything about Jason Whitlock. With Jason Whitlock, in my opinion, he just he likes when people have a problem with him, and I think he do a lot of things to say a lot of things in order to get under people's skin, right? But also the guy Doug Gottlieb, right? And I like Doug Gottlieb opinions sometime as a sportscaster. I think I think he's pretty fair. I think he's fair, just as fair I would think as anybody else, right? But they had some interesting comments to make about Jay Billis, which I remember Jay Billis when he played college basketball at Duke. I think he was there with Tommy Amica. What's the other guy name? Dawkins. What's Dawkins' first name? Johnny Dawkins. Man, oh man, when man Duke back in the days, I was a Duke fan. Well, any team in the ACC, I like Duke, North Carolina, Maryland, Wake Forest, all those teams, man. Clemson, any team, Georgia Tech, any team in the ACC, man, I just followed those guys because I got to see, what I mean? Like those are the games that came on TV in my area. So, I was big on the ACC and the Big East, and I got to see Jay Billis when he was at college, right? And so I want to react to what these two guys say about Jay Billis because I think some of what they said kind of, it's not anything bad, but I just think that it just lets you know that it's more so like your success. Sometimes, a lot of times, is not what you know, but it's who you know, and that's the big point of what I think that came out of this message that they were saying about this guy.
You made me think about, you know, Jay Billis can't stand me. And it's an unspoken thing, but he can't stand me. And I
He
know
doesn't like
why.
anybody. Like,
Oh,
does
is that
Jay
right? He
like?
does.
No, I mean, like, I think Jay has taken. When I came in, I thought Jay didn't like the fact that I was critical of coaches and players, but he's grown critical of the college game, and it does feel like, Jay, if you don't love this thing, why are you doing this? I think he's been better this year, but I do think that he's a brilliant guy, but he's just taken sort of a negative tone about our sport. And I say that supporting what I'm talking about is not everything's perfect, but his just is like, I don't know.
It's
He
weird.
doesn't like the system. He doesn't like the system that he helped create. Right? He's all been about player movement, player empowerment, whatever. He hates the fact. Uh-oh.
No, we're
We
good. Keep going.
Okay. This is the great thing, right? Okay, I'm going to be super honest about Jay with you. So Jay thinks that universities there's he always makes fun of the fact that universities say there's not enough money, right? Or um, you know, he's always been pro player, pro movement, pro free will. Basically, he wants college basketball anarchy. He believes that schools should be allowed to do whatever they want to do, and that the NCAA is bad and the system is bad. When at any point can we all admit that the entire rise of Jay Billis, his entire professional broadcasting life, is based upon one thing? What's that thing, Jason?
Dude.
Yes, the system that he says is, rigged against players has made him a multi millionaire 10 times over, right? He actually is the beneficiary of what I believe true NIL is, which you go to a great school, you have a great career, or he had a really good career, got a great career for his ability, got a great career. You play for a great coach, and you forever benefit because of the school in which you went to. And if times go bad, You go back to that school and they help you get back on your feet. That's the sacrifice. And then in turn, usually.
All right, so let me say this though. I think I'm gonna kind of look at it from Jay Billis's point of view, right? Jay Billis, he benefits, like Doug Gottlied said, from going to Duke and playing at Duke, and you know, like that's on his resume. Same thing with the other guy, Jay Williams, you know, and you know, you had some North Carolina players that are benefiting now because of their association, because those are two top programs in the country, North Carolina and Duke, right? So those guys benefit, but and Jay Billis is benefiting from with his connections to the school, right? But the thing about Jay Billis is like he hasn't taken the fact that he benefited from going to Duke and like, you know, and said, well, you know, like close the door on people, the kids that are coming in behind them, you know. And so I can appreciate that about Jay Billis, you know, because some players will they'll benefit and they'll have an advantage due to their connections from different schools or connections to different people, and then they'll close the door behind them and then won't allow people that's, you know, that's coming behind them to benefit or to get an opportunity, right? So Jay Billis, you know, in his defense, I could say that Jay Billis didn't do that. You know, he believes in player empowerment, which is cool. You know, college basketball, in my opinion, is not perfect, but I do think that college basketball, just like the NBA, I think in my opinion, I'm seeing better play, even though, you know, people complain about NIL and the money part of it, but I'm seeing better play um, at both levels, college and the pros. So I don't have any complaints.
Will ask you for a donation. And I'm guessing that Jay, if he hasn't donated, he probably says, hey, everywhere I go, people associate Duke with me. And so there, in fact, is the financial benefit. But it's really interesting that here Jay and Jay Williams and all of those Dukies, right? Everything they've done, don't get me wrong, Jay Williams was the player of the year. He's a great player. Hey, but all of the things he's been able to accomplish, and I'm not having him catch a stray, it's more about Jay Billis, have been based upon the fact that he played for Duke. That's how he got a job. That's his fallback. I played for Coach K. I know what it's like. I mean, again, it's like skulls. Like they're in the club and then they're talking about the club being a bad thing. Like I don't understand it at all. Look, every opportunity I've gotten was because of Oklahoma State. I'm not a dummy, right? Like had I not played for Eddie Sutton, I wouldn't have got my foot in the door. Because I played for Coach Sutton, we played in the NCAA tournament. I got to do interviews with you. You know, you wouldn't have gotten me that job offer in Kansas City when I was in Oklahoma City that helped me get my start at ESPN. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made any money. They would have lowballed me, right? But you got me a great job offer. But the only reason I appealed to you in Kansas City, I think it was WHB, was because I was a name in that part of the country. I was only a name in that part of the country because I had played at Oklahoma State, right?
All right, so yeah, but I don't, like I said, I don't think that Jay Billis is a hypocrite. You know, I just think he's taking advantage of the opportunities that he's been given by being associated or coming from coming from Duke University. And like I said, I appreciate the fact that he's not closing the door. Like he's made it, and so now he want to close the door on guys that's coming in behind him. You know, he's all about player empowerment, which I agree. I like player empowerment. And so yeah, I don't have a problem with that part of it. So let's listen to some more though and see if if Jay Billis is a hypocrite somewhere along the line.
It all works together. That's how the system actually works. And if you understand that, you could benefit from it. People have benefited from it for years. And I just don't understand how we're ruining this beautiful thing in college athletics because we feel like players are somehow missing out on $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, which is going to go. They're going to spend anyway. They're college kids. They're not really equipped for all this grown-up stuff. And we're having players move from school to school to school so they have no true alma mater. There aren't going to be alumni games. There's nowhere to go back to. There's no basketball family. You go to a place for 9 months, you're not part of the fabric of that university. You're just a guy who's a mercenary. That's what college athletics is supposed to be about. And we've ruined it. And we've ruined it in no small part because of Jay Bilas, who's been pushing for this type of environment in college athletics for 25 years.
All right, let me say this. Now, I think Doug Gottlied makes a good point, right, about not having a forever home for certain basketball players, right? And for most basketball players, like the majority of basketball players will not have the opportunity to move around like, like the star basketball players. And so I think, though, in my opinion, I think if it's regulated, like if you have contracts as far as this NIL is concerned, and you say that, you tell these kids, like, you have a contract and you got to honor this contract. You are part of the professional adult world. So treat them like adults. If you move, you're going to be penalized for moving. Not severe, but it just enough where as though these kids want to stick something out sometimes, and want to the star players. I don't think it'll be hard because star players are just so. Some of these guys are so good, they could probably play at any university and be successful. So it won't be hard to get a star player to stick it out at a university. And like I said, I think college basketball is on its way back. There's a lot of really good basketball players at the college level. So, yeah, I think that with the NIL, I think they're going to iron out some of the problems that they're having with NIL, and kids won't be able to move as much as they move. I'm sure that, these guys will come up with contracts and stuff like that that'll make kids think twice about, moving. And, that stuff will be ironed out. But you're always going to have contract disputes. Like once money get involved, you're always going to have contract disputes, and so that's my take on it. I don't think Jay Bilas, in my opinion, is a hypocrite. I don't think Doug Gottlied is a hypocrite. I think basically, from what Doug Gottlied said, both of them, stand for pretty much the same thing. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment, and I will check you all out in the next video. Peace.